Hey.
Hello.
Welcome back to another voyage, another journey at the helm with Kelly and Wayne.
I'm Kelly.
And I am Wayne. Come in, kick off your shoes, put your luggage to the side, grab a drink, grab some food, get comfortable.
Don't mind all the noise.
Don't mind all the noise of the workers. But join us for another voyage, another journey. We glad to be here, glad that you're here with us to join us this evening. Been a lot happening this month. Last time we were here, we were celebrating on your birthday.
Yep. Happy birthday to me.
It's still going on. To some of you, I just removed the balloons a while ago out of the way. We were going to keep them in the picture, but we're still celebrating.
We are.
I mean,
as it should be.
How many dinners we had?
Oh, I don't know. Who's counting? Who's counting dinners?
I mean, what's the day?
It's a celebration.
The 17th. We probably had about 17 dinners.
Yeah.
But you deserve all of it.
Thanks.
You deserve every bit of it.
So full of it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful birthday. Wonderful birthday. So you had I guess we both had some eventful last weekend. You were went to a funeral service.
I did, and I don't know how many people go to a funeral service of people that they don't know, but that was my experience. This was a person who I didn't know, but my 81-year-old uncle and his 91-year-old former neighbor wanted to go pay their respects to their former neighbor and teacher. She was a math teacher. She was their math teacher. I think maybe they were in high school, 14, 15. Anyway, You hear me say they were 81 and 91. This lady lived to be 107 years old. So we went to celebrate the life of Dr. Virginia K. Newell. Like I said, she was a person who I didn't know, but just sitting in the service, came to find out she was an amazing woman. She was a servant to the people. She served on the city council. She was a teacher for many years. She was responsible for the math and computer science curriculum at Winston-Salem State University. She was responsible for bringing a shopping center to the Black neighborhood, the ward that she served in Winston-Salem. Her life just read like the Forrest Gump of Black women servants. Like she was just out here doing the work. She was amazing. So to meet her family, she has two daughters, well in their 70s, who are both medical doctors. And she had, 6 grandchildren, some great grandchildren. Anyway, to just be in the present. And she was also an AKA, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. She was the oldest living Alpha Kappa Alpha AKA in this, I guess it's the southern region. So yeah, her life was all about service. Her entire life was about being of service to others, up until the end. So at 107 years old, she, like the 92% of us, was out stumping for Kamala Harris. At 107, she was out there in the streets. She was on the streets, like trying to help Black people understand that this vote, and white people, understand that this vote was about liberation for Black people. But hey, we did what we could do. But her life was amazing, and I wish I had known her. I said my here we go every time. I wish my uncle would have introduced me to this lady. I would have liked to have sat at her feet for a little while. She was a campaign manager for Shirley Chisholm. So when I say that this lady, like at 107, and she started out serving early, so I didn't mind driving the 2 hours, sitting through the 2-hour service, driving back the 2 hours. So this was like my whole Saturday, but I was encouraged and uplifted. by the life of again Dr. V.K. Newell, who is now an ancestor, who may take her rest. I don't know if she's even resting right now. At 107, she was still out here doing it. So
She organizing somewhere in Helm right
she
now.
is getting the angels organized.
Mhm.
But so yeah.
Good, that's good. I do want to. So we do have a guest with us this evening, and no stranger to us, no stranger to at the helm, um, has helped us with this podcast and continues to help us to move forward. But he is the love advocate, founder of Love is a Parable. And again, not a stranger, has been with on here before and been many things with us and hanging out. So want to bring on at this moment Mr. J. Dwayne Garnett.
Hey peeps,
I think
Hey Jay,
what's up, Jay?
how y'all doing? Y'all hear me okay?
we can hear you.
Yeah.
I see we brought you on early, so this may mean you may or may not be involved in some Wilhelm shenanigans. So let's just go ahead and play the disclaimer.
So
Trigger warning, trigger warning.
Yeah,
let's see if you
you
can.
know. Y'all don't know if you can hear it. Can you hear the disclaimer? Let's see.
Views, thoughts, and
You hear that?
opinions expressed by guests on At the Helm podcast belong solely to them and not necessarily the host of At the Helm podcast.
What?
It may need to be reverted.
Yeah.
The views,
Hold on, let me
the
play that.
views
Hold on.
expressed.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the host of At the Helm podcast belong solely to them and not necessarily their church, family, employer, or each other.
We
So-
try to for everybody. Listen, don't
yeah.
blame nobody for what nobody say about nothing on here.
Yes.
That's the
I
motto.
like how y'all included y'all and not included y'all. These are our opinions, but they not ours.
Yeah,
They ours, but
Exactly.
they might not. Mine might not be his. His might not be mine.
exactly.
I'm just
exactly.
saying. If he
Exactly.
said, it, don't hold me accountable because he said it.
Exactly. And normally, we spend a little time doing our own shenanigans before we bring someone on. But when I saw Jay, I was like, no, he family, so he can come in and join in on our shenanigans and these conversations that we're bringing up first. So he can fall right on in. He knows who we are. He knows who we are. So while you were in you were in Winston Salem, I went to a press summit in Durham at St. Joseph's AME in Durham, and they are very active in the community, very active in social justice, very active in just trying to keep humanity and doing what's right. And they had a prayer summit that was entitled "A Strategic Plan for Perilous Times." And this moment that we are in, this times that we're in, we definitely need some strategic planning, and we need some organizing, and we need some hope and some faith, and we need really everything we can get and everything we can find during these times. So it was very good. They had a panel where they had some speakers that were there to discuss things that were going on. Bishop Barber was the keynote speaker, so he came and shared some good information. It was very good information about kind of what's happening with everything, and kind of what we need to do to stay focused and stand and continue to stand and stand together. So not be divided. And as he often does, shares, this fusion coalition movement where we all different backgrounds have to come together. And down through history, where when that has taken place, there's been an uprising of white supremacy to try to destroy and dismantle that.
We see it.
Down through history, and so and it's like that now when there's people coming together and trying to be together. It's always trying to be divisive and pit folks together. So it was very good and inspirational and encouraging, and so leave those things with some energy to continue to do this work, because it's not always easy to continue to do and to keep hope and to stay positive and to stay engaged. I was hearing some people the other day were saying that they have kind of been kind of checked out like you have been. They just been in a bubble. And one of them made a comment, yeah, I came out of my bubble and was outside of my bubble for a short period of time and decided I wanted to go back in.
Yeah.
So, it's challenging out here. It's challenging
Yep.
out here doing this work. And I know you experienced that, Jay, too. Trying to continue to do what you do in these times. I know it sometimes gets difficult.
Oh, most definitely. Oh, I didn't know it was my cue.
No, you good. No, you good. I was just giving you an opportunity to chime in.
I think it's safe to say anybody who's done work towards any type of moving, um, whether it's the America or the world forward and unity, is exhausted with the elevation of divisiveness on all fronts and the convenience of those who choose to turn a blind eye, unplug, disconnect, and can do all of that without recourse. Anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, they have the convenience to do that and come back when the sunshine comes back out. But they have the convenience of not necessarily having to deal with all types of storms.
Yes, definitely. hmm And on that note, we're always, on here shouting out and promoting Sirius XM, channel 126, where both of us listen quite a bit. There's several phenomenal shows on it. Are always trying to be factual and lift up. And so there was a conversation on one day between the host and one of the guests on there that Ta-Nehisi Coates made a comment that he has chosen to have, no political friends in his circle, at this time. And so there was, some pushback, a little pushback from one of the guests on the show. And like you said, it's so easy sometimes for people to kind of fall back when it gets difficult, when it gets um, heated, when it gets testy, when it gets challenging. And some people don't have that opportunity. Some people can't do that, even if they wanted to, because it still is in their face every day. And
I think that's different though. I think I absolutely have a choice, and this is how I choose to live my life. I don't have any apolitical friends. I don't have anybody that I'm willing to sit down. We're not going to lunch. I'm not coming to your house if your political beliefs don't align with mine. That's where I am. And that may be because the other person kept saying it was a luxury.
yeah. Mhm.
Maybe a luxury, but I don't think when you're choosing your friends are not a luxury. Now, if you have to go to work and be with around people who think differently than you and you still have to get the work done, that's different. But at my lunch hour, we're not together because we're not friends.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I don't see that as a drawback, especially in this time. Like maybe 2016, even maybe then. But at this point, if you have gone to the polls and you have voted for this person who is currently in the White House 3 times, if you voted for this person 3 times, I don't have nothing to talk to you about.
Yeah. Or even one time the last time.
I mean, the first time we're gonna give you a little grace. You was blinded by the light. He was a reality TV star. He was famous. All the rappers was talking about him. I'm gonna give you a little grace for the first time. That second time, you absolutely got no grace. The third time, I'm not speaking to you. Like, I'm not speaking to you 3 times. No. So I don't know if it's a privilege, but I love it here.
Well,
I don't have no apolitical friends.
and I can say some people use friend loosely, and
Yeah.
unfortunately,
I'm
some of
talking
us,
about real friends.
yeah, like some of us are forced to live life with people we don't align with, and sometimes it's like close, it's close relationship in one way or another, whether that is working, whether that is community, or even like my role in thinking about listening to other people. There are literally some people who are out there trying to justify their actions And some people are trying to come to grips with it, and you sit there and listen to it. Some may call me a friend, even though I may not say they're my friend. Some
Yeah.
people feel like they have friends because you can call them or you're connected to them on some type of social media. I think that word friend is like loosely done. Is it somebody I'm intimate with? That's a little different. So I
Yeah.
think I'm more aligned with Kelly because even prior to all of this, there are certain people I just won't have certain conversations with privately or even entertain because it's just better for me and my sanity and my mental health not to
And
engage
that's
and
it.
connect.
That's
Mhm.
it right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm protecting my peace. Like I don't. Again, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. And the guest that was on the show, I mean, he just kept continually going back. And I don't know, and kind of like what Jay said, I don't think he didn't really understand what friendship was. I think he was talking about some acquaintance, people that he may have had to work with, people that he may have, you
No,
know.
I think he totally understood
Mhm.
the entire conversation. Actually, there was a caller who came in and said, "I looked up the definition of friend, and this is
Oh
what it
yeah,
says."
yeah.
So there's no gray area. A friend is somebody who you can trust, somebody who you share your most intimate thoughts with, somebody who you feel like has your best interest at heart. That's a friend. Like there's no gray area when it comes to friends. Now, if
Mhm.
we go somewhere, we know mutual people and we just happen to be in a restaurant together, don't call me we're not friends.
Well,
I
yeah.
probably don't even want to be here. But because
Mhm.
this other person is kind of my friend, that's me how we got here.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're not. I just don't see it.
Yeah,
I don't see it,
yeah, yeah. It's definitely challenging.
and I don't know how. And like keep going back to that word luxury. I don't think it's. I think when you come home inside your four walls, where you want peace, you absolutely have the choice of who you let in that space.
Hmm.
And we're not having any conversation. We was talking to somebody the other day when we were over there. They had all these Trump signs in the yard. He was out there cutting the grass, and he done got real good at he real skilled at cutting around them signs. Like them signs ain't coming down. He was real skilled, and I was like, okay. And so there's nobody that knows me that don't know my political leanings, right? So he before I even said that, he said, "Don't start, don't start." He is a good neighbor. I said, I mean, he might be a good neighbor, but he is not a good person at all. So then we had to have that conversation.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, it's challenging. It's challenging.
it is not challenging. What's
No,
challenging? It's
it's
not
not.
challenging.
No, it's. I'm not saying it's challenging to determine that. It's challenging to have to deal with that.
And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and say for white people, it might be challenging. Because there is more of a likelihood that there are family members who may have different viewpoints than you. And if you're not willing to sacrifice that relationship, that's on you. That's on you.
Hmm.
But don't expect like other people. Bring other people into that. If you're going to continue to have that relationship, you have that relationship. Again,
I would say
I'm
that's
not,
yeah, I agree.
huh?
I'll
Yeah.
say it's and I guess we're kind of going to get into this anyway. There are people who don't understand that you can perpetuate racism um, without intending to be a racist, and there are some people who do have full intention to be a racist. But you can perpetuate racism, you can perpetuate anti-blackness, you can perpetuate any type of bigotry, no matter what your skin tone is. And
Oh,
Hmm.
sometimes they
absolutely.
align with people of opposite skin tone and think there is some level of diversity of thought when some people have been conditioned to think and see the same way. Because a lot of people will say, oh, I have this friend who feels this way, or they have voted for. Well, they could perpetuate the same values, the same viewpoint for you, and they can be of different races, different ethnicities. So I just wanted to clarify that. So, yep, I definitely agree. And some people can separate the same people who claim that they can separate the man, the office, and from different values. I don't rock with them, just like I don't rock with people who can justify R. Kelly's actions. I'm sorry, I just don't. So no, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I can still listen to the music.
Mm-mm.
The music is about the act.
Yeah.
It
That's
is
right.
like so it's like certain people feel like they can separate certain things and go from that, and because they have this close connection with somebody, because it's mom, dad, brother, sister, when my cutoff game is pretty strong.
You better ask somebody.
Yeah, cutoff game,
You better
real
ask somebody
strong,
about my fallback.
real strong.
Ask somebody about my fallback. And I think that comes down to life experiences too. Like, if you have been violated in any way by anybody, then R. Kelly is an absolute no-go.
Hmm.
But if you have been able to live your life in this perfect bubble, and two things can be true. R. Kelly is a lyrical genius. He is a musical genius. He is also a predator and a pedophile. Those two things can be true.
Hmm.
And again, you make the choice. I ain't stepped in the name of love in a long time, and that was my dude. Like, I'm telling you, my name was gonna be Kelly Kelly. That's what it was gonna be. Because I love me some R. Kelly.
Just like your grandma can make the best apple pie, was a great grandma to you, but also could be a racist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She throw a little cinnamon in there, a little racism, baked it up.
A bit of everything. A bit of everything.
Yep.
So Jay, I did want to ask you. So with love of a parable, and with your value based training, a value based foundation, and making sure that everyone knows that they are someone, and continue to promote that. Have you seen any difference? Have you had any seen any other challenges since all of this, since these first 70, 80 days of this administration, or even since November?
In what regard? With the people? Like in what ways?
Just in any way, with with more people wanting training, less people wanting training, or just anything that has kind of changed through this time.
Well, it's interesting. A lot. I have had some interest in wanting to have kind of like conversations about navigating in these times of uncertainty, um, which I have put some pushback because I do feel like there are some conversations that need to be had with certain groups and certain groups only. Um, and I don't feel like I need to be engaging Jay, the individual, or Love is a Parable, the organization, in those conversations early on,
Hmm.
um, because we've been doing these trainings, we've been having these conversations, and some people don't realize that uncomfortableness doesn't necessarily mean action. Sometimes you need to sit in your uncomfortableness and let that uncomfortableness teach you a lesson. And it's
Mhm.
okay to feel that. It's okay to say I'm uneasy. It's okay to say I'm uncomfortable. It's okay to have those moments because sometimes that's the best teacher because when things were presented, we didn't listen. So now that we're in current times and we're feeling some level of uneasiness and not sure how things are going to pan out, that's a good teacher. That's a great indicator. And maybe as you sit with that, it will guide the way in which we make decisions because your values weren't there yet, but now your values are shifting because there is some threat or some idea of a threat. So now that you're in a place of potential harm, it's making you reconsider a lot of the things that you kind of didn't pay attention to before. And so I do encourage people to sit in that moment, and I'm not quick to pacify. I do allow opportunities, and I've been having those conversations when they were like, Jay, do you want to come and talk to this or speak on this? No, I think certain people just need to sit with it for a minute, and that's okay.
Hmm.
Now, from the Love is a Parable standpoint, it's interesting that it shows how some people really didn't do as much work as they thought that they did.
Yeah.
Um, and I say this graciously because I do admire the work that DEI organizations do and individuals do. Love is a Parable just happened to not be a DEI organization. And I've
Yeah.
always made that clear. And that's not because I don't think the work was important. I
Yeah.
just didn't encompass all the work that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, some people have taken on labels and titles and terms like being an ally. And unfortunately, where is that allyship now? I have found since this administration has happened that even though Love is a Parable isn't a DEI organization, we're a value based education organization. The funding has dried up for us, I guess, because it was started by a Black person. So I guess anything started by a Black person also falls under the DEI umbrella, even with those people who claim to have created work to create safe spaces.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the time to fortify those safe spaces, differentiating who does what and seeing past that. But now this is the time where you're realizing a lot of people who said that they didn't see color, they see it.
Oh, they
They
see it.
see it
They saw
glaringly
it the whole time.
and they
Mhm.
pull back. And so just like we're erasing terms, it seems like some people are erasing their perceived values that they assume that they've had. So that's what I've
Yeah.
seen the
And
difference in.
I know you were out here in front of this. We had these conversations. We knew that George Floyd get money was gonna dry up. We knew that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it when it was happening. Because again, if you look at history, there's always a cycle. There's always a cycle. Violence, some kind of repentance, more violence, even more egregious violence, then some kind of repentance, and always this white lash.
Mm-hmm.
Every time there is a move forward, it's this white lash that wants to come and make sure that they are able to sustain this whiteness and this white supremacy system, this anti-blackness. So we talked about that alone, like people out here talking about this DI. They all right, y'all better know that this money ain't gonna last always. So what's the plan? How do you pivot? Where's the real work?
Mm-hmm.
And I know y'all have heard me say, like, listen, forget an ally. I need an accomplice. I need an accomplice.
Mm-hmm.
Allyship, not really interested. So
It wavers.
yeah, so these protests that's been happening, the one that happened on April the 5th, I was missing from that. Y'all go put y'all bodies out there and let's see what that looked like. But yeah, so this administration just kind of put a spotlight on what we already knew. What we already knew. About what you were saying about your organization and being started by a Black person who has real lived experiences and people wanting to get on board when it was cute. It was cute during COVID and George Floyd. And they could put a little certificate on their wall and they can say, I did this and I know Jay. One of my best friends is whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now we out here. We in the trenches.
Yeah.
And we see what that looks like.
And when it was the popular thing to do. And like I said, when everybody was doing, when everybody was getting on, and there was maybe some real folks, but now this is where the rubber's gonna meet the road.
Yeah,
You
can
know,
we
who's
shout
gonna-
out Harvard real quick? Like that ain't something I ever thought I would be saying, but let's shout out Harvard.
We'll give Harvard a little bit of credit, a little bit. We'll cap for Harvard just a little bit, who gave this administration the big middle finger this week and said, you don't tell us what to do.
Because it sounds like he want to also be president of Harvard.
Yeah.
Tell them what studies they can have, what students can come in, what
they
teachers
can
they
teach,
can have.
what they can teach.
And Harvard's like, nah, you keep your little money. We're
Mhm.
going to keep doing what we do over here.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take. Not Columbia, who want to be anti-Black anyway,
Yeah.
acting like they crumbling under the pressure.
Yeah, they were looking for a
No.
reason. Mhm.
That's not what we need.
We need people like Harvard.
Well, and also people to admit that some people don't have certain skill sets. And just because you may check certain boxes doesn't mean you check all boxes to advance certain things. Like just being Black, having a master's degree, or having a HR background doesn't necessarily denote that makes you a key person to navigate DEI. Just because you may be a brown person, just because you may be some subcategory of whatever minority may be, and you seem to have the education and you seem to have the credentials, that doesn't mean that you are skilled enough to navigate these spaces. This also shed the light that some of the people that we have had in certain positions just weren't skilled enough to navigate because they don't know how to pivot even now.
Yeah.
Those conversations are not even being had
Right.
now.
And it's real. It's like right in your face. And you still don't know how to move that pivot foot.
Correct. And so struggling to, like, this is not the time to, like, for you, this is not the time to withdraw and saying, I'm getting off of social media. I need to clear my head and clear my mind. No, because this is life work that you committed to and is still attached to your name. So no matter who you are, no matter what your ethnicity is, if that is something you agreed to do, now is the time for you to really show you are the person that can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and I keep telling y'all, I'm not doing it in the way that y'all are used to me doing it. I went to a political event this week. So I'm not completely tapped out. I want to know what we're doing to fight back. So I went to get some answers.
correct.
Like, what we doing? What we
Mhm.
doing right now?
Yeah.
And I mean, I was glad to do that because I felt better about talking to a politician who done stopped saying we want to reach across the aisle. Because no, we don't.
Yeah.
Had to censor myself. No, we don't want to reach across the aisle.
Yeah.
So I'm still engaged. I'm just not in the way that people are used to seeing me engaged. I don't know when I'll be back out there amongst the people who had them he had rallies. And then more of them went and voted for him this time than they did. So while y'all was out there playing games and then going to Thanksgiving, this is what
Correct.
I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about. So
I
you
agree
know,
with you. Yeah.
the 92% of Black women and the 85% of Black men, we were out here telling y'all, and we went to the polls and we voted for liberation and we voted for sanity. We did that. So, hey.
And I had articles saying that DEI was going to be defunded. I attempted to partner with certain people. So there is a level of just like frustration. And when I was saying, I wasn't talking about foot soldiers like you and Wayne because your occupation is something different. I'm talking about the ones who claim to be the forerunner. If you chief DEI anything, chief belonging, VP of belonging, if you made a vow to the community and it's your occupation,
Yeah,
that's right.
now is the time for you to fulfill and live that. And just changing your name now to community strategist or community innovator does not change the vow that you've made. And now it's your social, professional responsibility and civic duty to live out what you pledged to do. And I feel like some people forgot that you became the forerunner when you accepted that. And I don't want to hear it's just a job. No, you knew it was just a job. And just like you signed that job description, when are you going to fulfill that? Because people are looking and people are knowing, but you also are affecting people's lives and livelihood.
And we're going to find out who was showing up for the paycheck and who was showing up for the people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because when the paychecks start drying up, they're going to disappear.
Or just change their name and get another little job and like it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, when it was cute, when it was popular, when it was something that they thought was it had momentum at that time, they, jumped on board. And then, like you said, now there's change names, can't see, can't find nowhere.
So in this, you were just talking about, people of all hues can be anti-Black. And Clay Kane has written a wonderful book called The Grift, the downward spiral of Black Republicans from the party of Lincoln to the cult of Trump. Not Black Republicans, period.
Yeah.
He's talking about Republicans.
Yeah.
And so have you heard this video, this clip, I guess, is going viral? And I don't know if it's going viral because I've only heard it one place. I haven't seen it anywhere. The pastor that was in Georgia. who was telling his congregation of mostly young Black people to stop blaming white cops for killing Black kids and start telling your Black children to obey authority?
The reason why I'm frustrated about that, because a couple of weeks ago, I just shared a clip. I said, I don't know nothing about this man. Somebody said, you need to research the church. I'm not going to research church because every time I do, there's
You find
something.
something.
Right. So I'm like, I just want to live in this moment of this clip where this man sold into a life of a family who moved all the way from Canada to join his ministry. They sold everything that they had, and I thought that was so awesome that pastor said, you know what, I'm gonna sow back into you guys' life. But now, and hearing it's the same pastor that's saying that, but now it also makes sense why he sold as much as he did for that particular family that moved down from Canada. So I'm a little upset. Like, I think I might need to move my clip, because this is a prime example of how somebody can do something good in one moment and do something destructive in the next.
Hey, two things can be true. And there is nothing to say in the whole context of that sermon. He said something off script that day too. This gotta be on brand.
Mhm.
Because you can't be Black and graduated from Central. Or I guess you can be, and be this anti-Black.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But then I do. Because Malcolm X told us about these people.
Mhm.
And they haven't changed since Malcolm was here. They ain't changed.
They have.
Yeah. There were and so he also had another clip or sermon or I have not seen it, but when he was I don't know if the name of his sermon, but he in that sermon was talking about Jesus is not Black. So that was another one that he had and shared. And so one thing that when I heard this, and I actually heard it I didn't see it on social media. I heard it on the radio.
Yeah, I've only heard it on the radio. I haven't seen it anywhere else. That's why I said I don't know if it's viral, because I've only heard it one place.
Yeah.
I got me on Insta quick. I saw Insta got it quick early in the morning.
Yeah, but what's amazing is 2 weeks ago, matter of fact, the last time we were on 2 weeks ago, the hot conversation in the viral video was of somebody saying, okay, close the doors. Ushers, close the door. Hey, I said close the doors. And that was the hot thing for 2 weeks. It was everywhere, national news, everybody talked about it.
It became a meme.
It became a meme. I mean, it was everywhere. So I'm trying to figure out where the church folks are now. All them folks that had a problem with somebody saying, close the door, we taking up an offering, and he was out of line, out of pocket, doing this, shouldn't do that. These preachers, these pastors, they don't do nothing but take advantage of folks. I mean, there was so many comments and conversation, commentary everywhere. And I don't, for this, nothing.
Well, why would they not be the same people? The same people that was criticizing the church?
Yeah.
Would they be criticizing this pastor? I don't know. I don't know if they would be the same. That's the same audience.
I mean, if you think Jesus and justice go hand in hand, and you think people are telling the wrong stuff and manipulating, and if you think people shouldn't be just telling people anything, and you got to, when you are a leader, you have to, you have a responsibility for the people that you speak to. I mean, kind of the whole premise of that. And I just ain't heard
I think those same people though would be the same ones who indulge in respectability politics. So I think they probably would agree with this pastor for the most part.
And I also think that, to your point too, I think that we are talking about two things. Whereas this is a person who established their own faith in essence. Whereas, Dr. Marvin Sapp was a part of a faith.
So wait, and I don't know nothing about this person.
No, so he started his own church, like a non-denominational church. So there's no authority to answer to, even within his establishment. He is the chief authority.
So that makes total sense. And a matter of fact, the radio host said he is a person who is led by his faith. So whatever that is.
There's no checks and balances.
It don't line up with mine, but whatever it is. So I guess you can't blame people for being led by their faith. Because aren't we all?
Yeah. And see, more people with SAP is upset with the denomination. So that's what started the outrage, because that is something that's traditional. And they took a snippet of something that has been happening for years. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and I
just
don't-
normal. It's part of the culture. And he didn't,
Yeah.
like, if you've been to anybody's church,
I don't know what denomination that is, but I done been to several denominations, and that's the norm. That is the norm. That's Black church culture. I don't care if you Presbyterian, holiness, Christian.
It don't matter.
I don't care. That is a cultural norm. So, and like I said, if I would have been there, I would have gave Marvin that $20. If you ain't had $20, don't give him $20. Don't give him nothing, or give him that $3. And on the same vein, we went to a Fantasia concert, and y'all know Fantasia. She shows us. She gonna kick her shoes off, and at the end of her concert, she get real churchy. I'm talking about on her knees, boo-hooing, praising the Lord. And I said, if Fantasia asked me for an offering right now, she gonna get it. She gonna get it. 'Cause it's all performative. Church is mostly performative and manipulative. I will admit that. So yeah, if that was gonna be her goal, if her goal was to raise money after she did all of that, she would have had mine. I was right there with her, with my hands raised up.
and
she did that good singing. She did that good singing. Ain't that good following that? Yeah.
And when I saw that early in my ministry, I and these pastors are still active today. These are pastors that people come to. They tell you how they do stuff. When they negotiate their honorarium, some of these pastors' honorarium include a certain portion of the offering raised.
And I have been in rooms where they say, don't worry about it, I'll raise my own offering. Because they know what they're going to do.
Yep.
They know they're going to manipulate these people. So, again, you bring your own experiences to make your own judgments. I was not mad at Marvin Sapp. Okay? I wasn't mad at Marvin.
And it was taken out of context when you thought about it. It was like, it was 1,000 people up in there. He said, if 1,000 people get $20. Y'all act like it was a church filled of 20 people. And he said, I need y'all to give me $1,000.
Like he said,
he
said, I need a private jet to get back home, and y'all need to pay me for it. He didn't say that.
Yeah, that's what I said too, Jay. It ain't like he asked 20 people for $1,000.
Yeah. And so, and this is different. And I hate when people lump it, because I know the whataboutisms is going to come here. This is different about race. I just want to make sure, because people will bring in this and try to tie it into race. I can't take off my skin tone.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop being me. Nobody knows what denomination of faith I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So please don't compare those things and try to say they're the same. Yes, they are forms of oppression, but they're all different levels of oppression, and they're different categories, and they shouldn't be lumped together.
Don't try to say what is the same. Church and being black.
Yeah, right.
Don't
Church, like
two
church
things.
and being black, or this type of stuff that's going on in churches, which is a denomination. In this case, a denomination specific. When we're talking about the pastor of 2819, and we talking about Marvin Sapp, those are denomination specific, Christian specific things that nobody knows about unless they show us. Racism is something is felt globally, whether you want to be an active participant or not. And I don't want us to always bring that together and be like, see, this is why. No, racism is totally different. It is a system.
Yep.
Faith is something you have an option to participate in. But unfortunately, there is no opt-out button for me as a black man to say, I don't want to participate in racism anymore.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or can I change my oppression for privilege?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's make sure we're not combining these things.
Yeah, where is the swap meet for that? Can I trade in this oppression for privilege, please?
Right, please.
Yeah, that ain't happening. Yeah. So yeah, that was but I was just and I guess maybe that is the different, maybe not the same crowd, but I was just wondering why, one went viral, one didn't.
And again, you're not going to find a lot of people, I don't care, of no race coming to the rescue of black people. That just is not going to happen. The people are like, yep, Mike Brown should have not took that cigarillo. It's like, okay, so is the penalty for stealing the cigarillo death and then leaving them laying outside for 20 hours in the sun? Okay. And then even if you do obey, that's Philando Castile. Oh wait, we can't. He did everything right, and
Yeah.
he's not here.
Mhm.
So we definitely want everybody to live to see another day. But no, I'm not really teaching this obey at any cost
Yeah.
thing speech. Because they don't care. If you have the wrong person, it don't matter.
Yeah, on the wrong day. And I thought one of the hosts on the show, said, there's a big difference between, and he didn't even use the word obey. He might have said complying and survival.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between, respect and survival.
Yeah.
So yeah, you and for that gentleman, on here, Mr. Mitchell was, one of his things was, don't keep blaming white cops for killing black kids. Teach your kids to obey authority. Like, again, like it was, their own. And so, one of the hosts was, there's a big difference between compliance and survival.
And then once again, why are we putting the onus and the ownership on children or adults? Like, you signed up for that job. You went to the academy. You are the one that's trained in de-escalation.
Mhm.
You are the one who's trained in shooting. You're the one who trained how to use that. Like, all of the training is yours.
Mhm.
All the training is yours. Why is all the responsibility on other people? And most of the days, as a police officer, you gonna see people on their worst day.
For the most part.
You are probably going to run into people on their worst day.
Mhm.
And you want them to be the most responsible? You want them to be more responsible than you. Yeah, I don't buy into that. So
Yeah, that was kind of triggering for me for several reasons, because also when you're a person of influence, especially someone who has that much influence, you don't get the luxury of just haphazardly saying something, because that
Mhm.
can cause perpetual damage. Anything that can be a snapshot. This is no different than, I forgot the dude's name, Keon Henderson. That's no different than him openly rebuking the young lady on live stream.
Mhm.
You may have been right, but it became out of order because nobody knew the backstory. So the illusion of it could be wrong. And I feel like people, when you talk about obeying authority, that goes for you too. And which authority are we talking about?
Mhm. That's
Because
right.
where is your knowledge-based authority? Where is your authority of influence? Where is the authority that you have as an influencer to obey that and say, you know what? This is not a conversation that I should be having on live stream for everybody to see, who don't get an ability to break it down, who don't have an understanding, who won't get the footnotes. Cut the camera off. Let me talk to my congregants about what I mean.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
not obeying authority. You're not even obeying the religious authority and the spiritual authority as defined by the scripture because of the office that you have when you blatantly say something like this.
Mhm.
So you got to obey authority. Be
Yeah.
the first example of obeying authority and teach yourself how to obey authority. And those type of statements won't be made blatantly to cause further damage, and everybody's catching strays, even if that's not your intention.
Mhm. Yep. And it may go back to again that they when you were saying, they have their own faith. They have their own authority. So at some point, maybe they feel like they are their own authority, and they don't have to answer. And at some point, I'm in control, and they do get it twisted and forget about that religious authority and responsibility that they do have.
And people gonna weaponize that against you. They're gonna use that plug because it always come up. Well, you see what so and so said, because you get it every time you do this work. That's no different. You have just gave a new part of ammunition in. What about the black on black crime bag?
Yeah.
You literally just put more ammunition in there by saying stuff like that. And people need to be held accountable for the recklessness stuff that they say. Sanction that.
Definitely. It's definitely time to challenge and to check conversations.
Yeah, especially these people that have these huge followings and these huge platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember what happened with Oprah when she was just talking about. She was.
I know you love her, but I was just getting ready to bring her up. I was getting ready to say, I was getting ready to say in other news, some people went to space this week.
Nope,
I don't know we care. Oprah was out there boo-hooing and crying about Gail. Like, what are we doing? What have you said about this administration? Like, what are we doing? And this is why I cannot engage in nothing. I cannot enjoy anything. The question is gonna be, what we doing about this man and what? What are we doing? I don't care nothing about Gail going to outer space, and you out there, and you ain't said nothing. No, I can't enjoy nothing. I'm telling you, I cannot enjoy anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we shifted there, that's what I was gonna think about. I was gonna think how they used her influence against her and sued her for what she said about beef in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Because of her influence, they were like, your influence, you said, is you lost us all this money, but we don't do it for everybody else. But we picked that one black lady to say your
because
influence.
of her influence. You're right. Because of your influence. So use that influence. Like, tell us something.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us something. What we doing?
Yeah, use your influence.
What are we doing? What campaigns are you giving to? Like, what we doing? Just tell me. Tell me what we doing.
And what campaigns are you taking from?
And if you ain't doing nothing, if you like me, you just want to fall back, let me know that too. But don't be coming out here because Gail going to outer space, giving all your emotion about that. I don't care nothing about that.
For 11 minutes too.
I mean, all that time. And she didn't want to go. She didn't want to go.
Who Gail didn't want to go?
I mean, have you seen the pictures of Gail's face?
Well, before she left?
Yes.
If she didn't want to go, why she go?
Hey, you got to be out there with Katy Perry and who else went? Katy Perry getting off, kissing the ground. I was looking at it and I was like, did they do that today? Outer space today? Like Tuesday. What are they doing?
Ain't that a weekend, James? We go to outer space on a Tuesday.
They just went today. Yeah, so you have to be responsible and do good work with these platforms that we have. Like, again, we trying to build this podcast so we can sell it for $250 million.
Are we selling out? We selling out. No, you got to keep it.
I mean, we can still be behind the scenes. With $250 million.
Yeah, we're gonna sell the rights of it, but we're gonna still produce it.
Can we syndicate it first?
Yeah, we got whatever.
Syndicated. Yeah. But y'all don't want to like and share. Y'all don't want to do it. Y'all don't want to do it.
Like, share, subscribe.
Not you turn it into the past. It's y'all fault. Teach your kids how to share.
Teach people how to share. It don't cost you nothing to like and share. I ain't asking you for 10%, nothing. Just like and share. That's it.
I ain't told you to lock the door. I ain't said do nothing. All I asked you to do is the like, share, and subscribe.
That's it. Now, how many of y'all subscribed on YouTube? I think we got 4 subscribers. That is a shame and a disgrace.
And 3 of them on this screen.
Maybe you done cut them off and they can't see it. Maybe you cut them off and they can't see it.
3 of them is us. We appreciate
Maybe you cut them off, Kelly. They can't see it. They be like, I would, but I can't see it. Like, I don't align with your political.
What I need to do. Let me know. Now, we probably ain't going to lunch together, but you can still look. Still look at it. Now, again, that don't cost you nothing. And then, you know what else you can do? You can leave me a comment telling me how much you don't like it. Leave a comment. You can do that.
Ooh. Maybe if you would go to lunch with a few people.
I am not. And you can ask somebody about me from the 90s about going to lunch with somebody at the workplace. I am not going.
That's what's stopping the 25,000 right there. She won't go to lunch. I ain't going.
Because there's some people out there who agree with me. They need to just come on and like it. They just need to come on and like and share. There's some people out there who agree with me. Now, there's some people out there who go maybe move a little more like Wayne. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a spectrum of people of I don't know. Empathy. We all are. There's the spectrum of what you can tolerate. Mm-hmm. And I'm staunch in mine. Wayne be out there just rubbing elbows with the people, and I'll just be looking at them.
Well, who people now?
No, we've gonna say it right.
No, you got the name.
Say no
about it.
name.
I ain't gonna say name.
You just like people in general. Like you just kind of like people.
He has a pastor's heart. So we're gonna go with that.
He does. Let's do
I
that.
get that.
Let's
got a
pray
pastor's
for his
heart.
wife to get the same heart. Y'all finna watch a conversion right here.
Well, we don't know who yet. We don't know who's
Be
going to be
careful, be
converted which
careful.
way.
CJ, we told you we didn't want to get you involved in these Wilhelm shenanigans.
Yeah, but we knew if we threw you in, it wouldn't take long. You would
And look,
fall.
the show is almost over.
Yes,
We almost made it to the end.
without any shenanigans.
Actually, we are at the end. We getting ready to disembark, Jay. So what wise words do you have for the people for our disembarkation?
Can I ask him one question, right? We got time
Go
to
ahead.
ask him one
Go
question.
ahead.
So Jay, I do want to kind of, again in this climate with your value-based education, and which is I feel is tremendously needed. It was needed long before this, but even more now. So, and you mentioned earlier about, even you personally on this journey and Love is a Parable. So kind of two different entities. Because I feel like we all have a responsibility to provide value to communities. So in this time and in these ridiculous days, how do we continue to thrive and continue to provide value and show value to people in times like this?
Shameless plug is to carry yourself over to loveisaparable.com
There you go. I
and
love it.
purchase one of the training manuals that'll show
There it
you
is.
how to find your center, how to uncover, how to work through that. And if you haven't had the training manuals, that's where you want to start first, because that's something you can do your individual work first. But one of the things that I do want a lot of people to do is the current state that we're in. The positive to this is that this is the true manifestation of everything that we have swept under the rug for years. So now we can't
And
say
now
we
we are-
don't know.
We out here tripping over that hump
No, I think
in the
it's,
rug.
it's like the vacuum cleaner bag done exploded, and it's just everywhere.
It's everywhere.
So we coughing through the dust right now, and I think that we have to. And I'm saying this. A lot of people need to sit in their feelings and sit in that uncomfortableness. And how will this teach you to create a better future? This is the time to start jotting down. Don't be so quick. Some people don't be so quick to try to corral people, and also be sensitive to I would say those who are experiencing some level of oppression, your darker hue individuals, not just black, because some people ain't black, but some brown individuals. And I'm talking about those who have connections even to that in the Middle East. Don't be so quick to ask them to partner with you to help you resolve your feelings. Sit with your feelings and say, okay, if I'm feeling this now, how has Jay and his family been dealing with this for the last such and such years? This is a time to say, if I'm uncomfortable in this, 4 months of this, how has Jay been uncomfortable for 45 years of this? So here's the difference. Because historically Black Americans have dealt with this, we're going to always find a way to smile. We're going to always find a way to live, and we're going to always find a way to enjoy life. And that is still happening regardless of what is happening. A lot of you have just stopped breathing for the moment. And we have been dealing with this. So now is the time for you to say, if this is making me feel this way, how can I use my influence to create positive change? Not just having conversations. What are you going to do? Like all those people that are in your family, are you willing to separate with them if they're causing this type of destruction? Are you willing to divide if it's for the greater good? Are you willing to educate? Are you willing to take those funds and those relationships? Are you willing to sacrifice checks for the greater good? And I'm saying this, like, are you willing to cut ties with consumers and partners and all of that? Because look what's happening to Target. But are you willing to do the same thing in your personal realm of influence to say, no, I stand with humanity and I stand with what is right?
Mhm.
So now is the time to sit with your feelings and let your feelings guide and teach you that uncomfortableness is a good thing. Embrace it and let it teach you. I'm standing on that.
Yep,
I like it.
that's good.
I don't know
That's
what
good.
I was looking for the hearts on here. I want to put a few up here, but I can't find them.
Mm. Yeah. Anyway, that's good. I don't know what.
Oh, I was gonna say you up next.
Oh, I mean, we'll just let Jay's words marinate.
Oh,
What?
There's the hearts. There's the hearts. Because that's good. That's good. There has to be some self introspection about what we're willing to sacrifice. Some people ain't stopped shopping at Target, and they're not going to. But it don't take everybody.
mm-hmm.
It don't take everybody. All the black people didn't stop riding the bus on that boycott. Everybody didn't stop riding the bus. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Most of the time when we're moving in these ways, you are probably going to be in the minority.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't get blindsided. But what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
Is the question. What is your personal sacrifice going to be? So I just kind of wanted to sit in that. I just think people, when he said, be comfortable in your uncomfortableness, like however long, whatever that looks like, do that. Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
So mine is I'm going back to the lady who lived to be 107 years old, who saw lots of these things. Like she lived through the first pandemic. She lived through the second pandemic. They was 100 years apart. she lived through that. She lived through the civil rights movement. She lived through Jim Crow. And she was able to make a life for herself, build a life with her children, for her children and her family, her husband. She has left a legacy for her great grandchildren that they can live up to. And so my words are just to continue to do something for your 100-year-old self. What are you doing today for your 100-year-old self? And when that day comes, what kind of legacy are you leaving for your family to attach to? So I don't know what that looks like for anybody, but just think about that. When you get to be 100 years old, you can look back and say, when I was 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, I put this in place so that I will be prepared for this when I am 100. So look to the future, leave your legacy. Do something.
Do something.
That's it.
I
I
like
like
that.
it. I like it.
What would your obituary say about you?
Mm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Now, I've been to a funeral where they talk about, the year that she was born, the dash, and the year that she died. Like a lot of living is in that dash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of living in that dash. That lady did a lot of living. she did a lot. And not just to herself. She did a lot for her community. Of course, her family, and I'm sure her family sacrificed her time. But she was out here making a better community for everybody. Because when your community is safe, you safe. Ain't no need for you to be okay, and the community ain't okay, because pretty soon they're gonna encroach on your okayness. But anyway,
Mm-hmm. What they say, let the works that I'm doing speak for me.
that's what they say.
Yeah, her work
I
spoke
said
for
that
her.
to you today, but it was out of context. Why did I say that to you? Never mind. You probably can't say. We probably can't say online.
Yeah, we had.
You know, that's one of my scriptures. That's one of my favorite scriptures too.
Yeah.
When the Messiah said, "If I don't do the works of the Father, don't believe a thing I say."
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us need to start putting their works before their mouth.
Mm.
Mm. Mm. Oh, yep, that's true. A whole lot.
Okay, you're up and we're over.
Whole lot. So we have there's been a lot of organizations that are coming together through all of this, and it's kind of, I don't know, maybe kind of sad that it took this to bring people together. To why did they have to get this bad before organizations really started coming together and doing things? But like Jay said, sometimes this is what's been swept under the rug for so long, and now it's exploded, and now we kind of being forced to deal with it on some levels. So I just want to say, that we can definitely continue to move forward together. And as the old proverb says, if you want to go far, go alone. I mean, if you want to go quick, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So it's going to take community. It's going to take all organizations. It's going to take, people moving forward together, not quitting, and collaboration and fusion, coalitions to continue to make these changes. So find somewhere you fit in, find somewhere you can do some work, find somewhere if if you can and get involved somewhere to do something. You can do something as little as sending an email, sending a flyer, making a phone call, or you can do as much as,
Running
planning-
for office.
running for office. Yeah. But support someone, find someone. But yeah, that's it.
All right.
So appreciate you, Jay, for hanging out with us this evening. Thanks to all of you for joining us on this voyage. You're now back at the dock. Get off this boat
May you set sail towards your dreams and chart your own course.
until
Next time.
yes.